Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Practical English, the podcast where we help you learn English in a clear, enjoyable, and practical way. My name is Anna.
And I'm Mike. Today's episode is going to be a big one. We're focusing on something that many learners struggle with but really need in professional, academic, and even social situations, speaking formally in English.
That's right. Lots of learners say, I can chat with friends in English. I can message people online. I can even order food. But when it comes to job interviews, presentations, or official conversations, I get nervous. I don't know how to sound polite, professional, or confident.
Exactly. So in this episode, we're going to dive deep. And when I say deep, I mean really deep. We'll spend time exploring why formal English matters, what common mistakes people make, and how you can start sounding more formal step by step. We'll share strategies, role-play conversations, cultural tips, and even a daily plan you can follow.
And remember, this podcast is interactive. Don't just sit and listen. Repeat the phrases after us, practice with us, and by the end, you'll have a toolkit of formal English expressions you can use right away.
So, Anna, let's start with the big question. Why does formal English matter so much?
Well, think of it this way. When you dress up for an important event, maybe a wedding or a job interview, you put on nicer clothes than you wear at home. You might wear a suit, a dress, or something that shows respect for the situation. Formal English works the same way. It's like dressing up your words to fit the occasion.
I like that analogy. Informal English is like jeans and a t-shirt, comfortable, relaxed, casual. But when you need to impress, when you want people to take you seriously, you dress your English in something more polished.
Exactly. And the good news is, you don't need super fancy vocabulary. You don't have to sound like a Shakespeare play. Most of the time, formality is about tone, politeness, and choosing words carefully.
Right. For example, imagine you walk into a job interview and say, Hey, what's up? I'm Mike. Super happy to be here. That sounds friendly, but maybe a little too casual. A better formal version might be, Good morning. My name is Mike, and I'm very pleased to be here today. Same idea, but one sounds like hanging out with friends, and the other sounds like you're ready for business.
Yes. And here's something important. Formal English doesn't only belong in business. It's useful in academic settings, like giving a presentation, asking a professor for feedback, or participating in a conference. It's also important in everyday life when you want to show politeness, like speaking to someone older, or when you're in a situation that requires respect.
That's such a good point. Imagine traveling and meeting a government officer, or applying for a visa, or even making a formal complaint at a hotel. If you sound too casual, people might not take you seriously. But if you use formal English, they'll respect you more.
And one more reason. Formal English gives you confidence. It makes you feel prepared, like you have the right tools in your pocket.
All right, let's talk about the struggles. What are the most common mistakes learners make when they try to speak formally?
The first mistake is using casual greetings or expressions in serious contexts. For example, "Hey dude, what's going on?" That's fine with a friend, but not with a professor or boss. In formal situations, you'd say something like, "Good morning, how are you today?"
Yes. Another mistake is using contractions or shortcuts too much. In casual English, we say gonna or wanna. But in formal English, it's better to say going to or want to. It sounds clearer and more professional.
Another challenge is politeness. Learners sometimes forget polite expressions like, "Would you mind?" Or, "I was wondering if you could." Instead, they say things directly, "Give me that file." In formal English, you'd say, "Could you please pass me that file?"
Right. Politeness softens the request. It makes the other person feel respected, not ordered around.
And pronunciation can also be a challenge. In formal settings, people sometimes worry that their accent will sound wrong. But here's the truth. You don't need to sound native. You just need to sound clear. Clarity is more important than perfection.
I love that. And I think another mistake is overusing big words. Learners sometimes think formal English means difficult vocabulary. But if you try to use huge, complicated words you're not comfortable with, it can sound unnatural. Simple, polite, complete sentences usually work best.
Okay, let's move on to strategies. How can learners actually start speaking more formally?
Tip 1. Use full sentences. Instead of "need help," say "do you need any help?" Instead of "wait a sec," say "could you wait a moment, please?"
Tip 2. Use polite phrases. For requests, use "Could you please?" "Would you mind?" "I would appreciate it if..."
Tip 3. Avoid slang. Words like cool, awesome, or yeah are okay with friends. But in formal settings, you can say, "That sounds good," "That's excellent," or simply, "Yes."
Tip 4. Practice shadowing. Listen to formal conversations, the news, speeches, TED Talks, and repeat like an echo. This helps you copy the rhythm and tone of formal speech.
Tip 5. Record yourself. Pretend you're giving a presentation or a job interview. Listen back and notice if you sound too casual or if you could use more polite phrases.
And tip 6. Learn common formal connectors. In casual English, we say and, but, so. In formal English, we can use in addition, however, therefore. These words make your sentences sound polished.
Now, let's practice with some role plays.
Yes. Let's start with a job interview.
Hi, I'm Mike. I really want to work here. I think I'm good at this job.
Good morning. My name is Mike, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to interview with you today. I believe my skills and experience make me a strong candidate for this position.
See the difference? Same person, but the formal version sounds confident and professional.
Exactly. Let's try another. Asking a professor for help.
Hey, I need help with my essay. When can you check it?
Good afternoon, Professor. I was wondering if you might have some time this week to review my essay draft. Your feedback would be very valuable.
Perfect. Notice how the formal version uses, I was wondering if you might, a soft, polite request.
And here's one more, in a business meeting.
Guys, we gotta fix this problem fast. Let's just do it tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this issue requires urgent attention. May I suggest that we schedule a meeting tomorrow to address it thoroughly?
Beautiful. Formal English uses structure, politeness, and respectful tone.
Now, let's talk culture. English is spoken in many countries, and formal can look a little different.
Yes. In the U.S., people are often friendly, but in formal contexts, they still expect polite phrases like, could you please? Or, I would appreciate it if...
In the UK, politeness is even stronger. People often soften requests with phrases like, I was wondering if, or perhaps you could...
And in Australia, the culture is more relaxed. But even there, in business or government, you'll hear polite, formal expressions.
So the lesson is, don't stress about which English you're learning. Learn one version well, American, British, or Australian, and later you can notice the differences.
Okay, let's give our listeners a step-by-step plan they can use every day.
Here's a simple routine. 1. Morning. Listen to 10 minutes of formal English, a news report, speech, or podcast. 2. Afternoon. Practice turning casual phrases into formal ones. Write down 3 examples. 3. Evening. Record yourself speaking for 5 minutes formally. Maybe a fake interview or presentation. 4. Weekly. Role. Play with a friend, teacher, or language partner.
And remember, small steps every day are better than one big practice once a week. Consistency builds confidence.
Mike, sometimes learners feel stuck. What would you say to encourage them?
I'd say, remember that speaking formally is like learning a new skill like driving a car. At first it feels strange, but with practice it becomes automatic. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is a step forward.
That's true. And celebrate small wins. Did you use a polite phrase in class today? Fantastic! Did you ask a formal question in a meeting? That's progress.
Exactly. Fluency isn't a destination. It's a journey. And every day you practice, you're improving.
Well, Mike, this has been such a useful and motivating conversation.
It really has. And I hope our listeners are speaking out loud with us, not just listening.
Yes. Remember, use full sentences, choose polite expressions, and practice daily.
Exactly. And if you want to keep improving, try replaying this episode tomorrow and practice the phrases again.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on Practical English.
See you next time, and keep practicing your formal English.